Today we are going to be taking a look at the common mistakes beginner runners make. Let's crack on with it. So then guys, how is it going? Hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video here on the Analyst Extra channel. Today, we're going to be talking to you about common mistakes beginner runners make. Now, this is all going to be from my personal experience. I'm not a professional runner. I'm not a fantastic runner. This is all from me beginning out on the start of my marathon journey in 2019, as well as starting back up running now, and just kind of sharing you the mistakes I made, really, so you can hopefully kind of take some of this stuff on board to not make the same mistakes and learn from myself. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel. So, point number one, we are going to be talking about too much too soon. Now, the biggest mistake I made when it came to me running and starting running was that I went and got a running plan from online, and the running plan said, do this, do this, do this. And it was a beginner running plan. And by the end of the first week, I then had to go and run. I think it was 6 miles on a Sunday as my long run. Now, coming from no running experience for many, many years, and running, I think it was about 11 miles I did in the first week, and one run that, was 5-6 miles long. It's just way too much for a beginner runner, especially when it was like me, I was overweight. What ended up happening, I ended up getting injured. I ended up getting shin splints, which obviously can just be from too much impact. Well, impact obviously on your shins from doing too much mileage, too much distance, something that your body's not used to. Now, for me, myself, I've still struggled with shin splints throughout my years of running. And what I've kind of realized is that it comes from me being overweight. When I'm overweight, my shins and my bones and my knees, just everything as a whole struggles a lot more. So I try to maintain, obviously, if I can keep a low weight, that makes it a little bit easier for me. But too much too soon is just such a common mistake that beginner runners can make. We all want to get out, right? We all want to go. We all want to go and run, and we want to say, yeah, I did this many miles. I did this many miles this week. I ran this far this week, and it feels great. But the problem is that the more you increase that mileage too quick, too soon, you're just going to run the risk of injury, burnout, and just general fatigue. So I really, really would advise don't do too much too soon. Now, you might go, how much is too much then? Well, if you're from a beginner runner, we know that the Couch to 5K is a brilliant app, a brilliant way to get yourself up to a base level of running fitness. And then the majority of things that I've read and looked up on seem to be the 10% rule, right? Don't increase your mileage by more than 10% from the previous week. So if you ran, say, 30 miles in 1 week, you would only then increase it to 33, the next 10% the next week. And just that gradual increase will help you increase that mileage to a safe level and to a level which will reduce the risk of injury, fatigue, and all of that sort of stuff. So definitely too much too soon is something that you want to avoid. You just really have to, when you're running, put your ego to the side. When you use Strava and all these apps and you share your runs and people can see how far you've run, and they want to go, oh, you only did this many mileage this week. Just don't worry about it. You got to do what you need to do at the start to get yourself going. Point number two, we are going to be talking about form. And this comes in the form of your upper body form, actually what you're doing with your legs from overstriding and looking at your cadence and running with a poor posture, a poor form. Now, this is something I was guilty of. So first of all, when I realized that shin splints was something that I was struggling with, this came from overstriding as well. And not really thinking about my cadence. Now, cadence is how many times you take a step per minute. Now, the optimal perfect cadence that people tend to aim for, I suppose there is no perfect, but what people aim for, this all comes down to your height, obviously how big your legs are, if you've got taller legs and whatnot, it's how many times you're going to take that step per minute. 180 tends to be the kind of, the golden number that people go for, which is 3 steps per second. So you're constantly rotating those legs and doing that. Now, the reason why this plays a big factor for beginner runners is we overstride, right? We overcompensate, which means that we're heel striking. And as you're heel striking, you are putting so much pressure through your ankles, through your knees and your joints that it's very difficult. It's hard on the body. It's tough on the body. If you've gone from not running at all to now running and you're literally pounding your legs on the ground with bad form and overstriding and not thinking about cadence, this can be a big, big issue. So something to bring to light and pay attention to. Again, I'm not a professional, so go and do some research on, cadence and how your form should be. The general one I try and aim for myself is to plant my foot in the middle of the ground. I want to hit in the middle. I don't want to heel strike. I don't want to front strike. Kind of in the middle. And what I'm trying to make sure is that my body's aligned, right? So as I'm planting my foot on the ground, my hips and my knees should be pretty much straight. If you were to take a screenshot, you don't want your foot so far ahead of your hips and your knees. You kind of want them all as level as you possibly can. And if you can do that, that will help massively. And then when it comes to cadence, trying to rotate those legs fairly quickly, even though so it might be shorter strides and you're obviously hitting the ground more, but it's better because you're not putting so much impact through the ground as well, which can help massively. When it comes to upper body form, I had a massive problem as I got in deep into my marathon training. For 1 week, 2 weeks, I literally just had this horrible pain going through kind of just to the right of my spine. It was absolutely horrible, and this came from having a bit of a tilt as I was running, right? I wasn't thinking about my arms as I was running. Some people keep their arms down at their waist too much, some people keep them up really, really tight, and I saw a video. I cannot remember the gentleman who it was. It will pop to me at some point, and he kind of said what you want to do is you want to keep your chest as if it was being pulled up by like a skyscraper. You got a rope from your chest to the skyscraper, so you're keeping your chest nice and tall. You don't want it too tall that you kind of look odd when you're running or too far over, but just a nice open chest, which will help you run and help maintain your form as well and actually run longer. And as you're running, you want to think that you've got like your thumbs are kind of like pickaxes, right? And you're just kind of running along like that. You don't want to have too much of emotion, too little of emotion. Kind of want to just keep them down by your waist partly at kind of 90 degrees, and that helped me massively and fix my issues. Again, do your own research on that, but that's something that helped me when it came to my form and running. And then last but not least for me, one of the biggest mistakes I kind of made as I was starting to run and really increasing my mileage was thinking about nutrition too much and what you should be eating and when you shouldn't be eating and this is good, this is bad. A lot of people start their running journey for multiple different reasons. For me personally, I wanted to run a marathon for my granddad for Alzheimer's and dementia, raise some money for charity, which was a great thing to do, but also to help me lose a little bit of weight. And what kind of happened was that I started increasing my mileage, to on my days off, I'd do like, a 10, 12 mile long run. And then what happens, obviously, you're increasing your mileage, you're running 20, 30, 40 miles a week. Your body needs the fuel, right? And you're constantly thinking, oh, is this too much? Is this too much? You're burning so many calories from running by itself that you can almost get too caught up in how much you should be eating, how much you shouldn't be eating. And that kind of played an impact on me by trying to lose weight and think you just felt like you eat, well, as this is later on in the training, by the way, as you increase that mileage, your body's going to be hungry. You're going to need to fuel your body, and you can feel a little bit like, oh, I might be overeating. So what you can do is you can track your calories. You can keep an idea on how much you're running, how much you're burning, and then how much obviously you need to put back into your body while possibly maintaining a calorie deficit if you're losing weight, if that's what your goal is, and so on. But making sure that you are just getting enough fuel on board to fuel those long runs. Obviously, fueling the long runs prior, during, and all that sort of stuff, I can discuss in different videos on how I do that. But definitely not worrying too much about nutrition, and just kind of you got to do what you got to do when you are increasing that mileage and so on. So don't think, I'm eating too much, because if you're running 20, 30 miles a week, that's more than what you've been used to, however long ago it was when you started running. Your body is going to need that nutrition to bring on board. The only thing I try and do when I'm, really, really focusing on my running is to try and maintain a level of eating food that is fairly healthy. I'm not going to be like an anal freak on it. I'm not going to make sure that everything I eat is absolutely, brilliant. All I try to make sure is that the majority of the stuff that I eat is natural, is fresh, right? I don't want to be eating too much processed food. If I can avoid like excess sugar, so like when I have a coffee, I don't put sugar in my coffee, all that sort of stuff really, and just trying to be a little bit more aware of it really. I don't want to make my lifestyle so much that I have to eat this at this time at this blah blah blah. I'm not too fussed about that, but say if I'm going out for a meal or something, I just make sure that what I'm eating is as good as it possibly can be. And that to me is a perfect balance. For you might want to track everything, you might want to prepare all your meals, all that sort of stuff. It's whatever suits you when it comes down to that. So then guys, there you have it. Those are the mistakes that beginner runners can make when they start out running. Again, this is all from me and my personal experience and the mistakes that I made. So hopefully shed a bit of light for you guys, so it may help you when it comes to starting your running journey in the future. Remember to just get yourself out, get outside, whether it's just starting out for a walk first of all, just getting some exercise clothes on, getting out the door is the hardest step. Once you get outside, you'll feel much better for it. So make sure that you get out and go out and enjoy yourselves. If you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful, please do give it a like. You can also subscribe to the channel. I do want to thank you all very much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.